Hey, 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 all you YouTubers, you internet crazy cats. It's Anthony Sica. I got a little different stream tonight. Instead of my usual comic books, my usual kick-ass 90s movies, I'm here to talk about metal. It's the midlife metal crisis. News and reviews with two old dudes. That's right. I got me and my good buddy Jeff Rankin in the house. What's up, Jeff?
What's happening, my friend?
Hey, so I called you up last week. I said, hey, man, let's do a little stream about some metal, some hard rock, some current shit that we're listening to. So before we start, Jeff Rankin, I want to know what your real, not your poser, but what your real qualifications are to do the stream tonight.
Well, first off, age was one of the requirements for today's discussion. The fact that I'm approaching the big 5-0 in about a month and a half qualifies for that as far as being an elder. As long as along those lines as well, as far as metal music, I was born with a metal rattle. Just kidding. So no, I've always loved metal. I mean, my very first concert that I went to was Kiss, and my parents are very awesome for doing that. And then after that moment, man, I was like, well, what is this? So Kiss turned into listening to all kinds of different stuff. At that time, I was young. So my cousin in San Antonio, Texas, took my mom to go see Iron Maiden and Wasp. My mom comes back, tells me about these guys in chapless pants, which was Wasp, and this crotch rocket that he was shooting flames out of. I was so intrigued to find out what in the world she was talking about. I became a huge fan of Wasp and Iron Maiden on the Power Slave tour at that time, and I just have loved metal ever since and been nuts.
Okay, but in addition to that, you've been a performing musician, playing guitar in metal bands. As long as I've known you, we've been in a band together called Luna Dementia, and then Metropolis Rising, believe it or not, for almost 20 years. You and I have been writing metal songs together. And you also you've recently played on a studio album by Deny the Fallen, correct?
Yes, correct. Yep.
All right. And you've played, at least 200, 300, 400 gigs in your life, right?
Easily.
Okay. Well, there you go. My qualifications, besides, like I just said, being the co-writer in a metal band with this fucker over here, I've been playing hard rock and metal since I was 16 years old. I guess that was back in 1986 or 87 was my first gigs. Played Paradise City and Rocket Queen and Sweet Child of Mine and a bunch of Led Zeppelin. And then full metal after that, playing Black Sabbath songs and Deep Purple and all that shit. And again, even more than my original career with Mr. Jeff Rankin here for almost 20 years, believe it or not, writing original metal songs. I've played in every goddamn dive with no PA, and where all you get paid is 2 beers for the night. And then I was also on the side playing in cover bands 3 nights a week for 30 years. I've played thousands of shows, sometimes 4 and 5 hours a night. But look at Simply Incredible podcast. My good friend Daryl, Jeff's good friend too, saying, "What's up, fellas?
What's up?"
Okay, we're not talking comics tonight, Daryl, but please be sure to chime in. Oh, wait a minute. Look at this. Pop Culture Avenger. Hey, metalheads. Saxon, Accept, Crocus, and Grim Reaper. Well, you're talking Jeff Rankin's language right now, buddy boy. Pop culture, nice to see you tonight. We're going to be talking about some new metal albums by some classic metal bands. But again, real quick, that's our qualifications. Now getting right into it. Now, Jeff, Senjutsu, Iron Maiden's 17th studio record, 17 albums. It feels like they have 37, but believe it or not, 17 studio albums, not counting the live records. Senjutsu in Japanese means tactics and strategy. Okay? That is the Japanese translation of Senjutsu. Tactics, strategy, also synonym skill and ability. Now, you want to know something else, Jeff? You know what? There's also a translation in Japanese. Senjutsu not only means ability and strategy, but it's also described as a word for magic.
Ah.
Now, that was the name of our last record that we put out by Metropolis Rising, was called Magic. So, see, I was channeling shit back then. But anyway, Senjutsu, I'm going to say something real quick about the album, and then I'm going to throw it to you, Jeff.
Sure.
Senjutsu, hold on, look at this. Wait, look, we got all this thing. I heard about this metal thing. Yeah, I imagine Daryl's going to have some metal things inserted in some joints in his body soon if he keeps playing the disc golf. We got a little love fest between Pop Culture Avenger and Simply Incredible. He says, hello back. Simply Incredible says, hope you're having a good day. I think you guys should just get a fucking room. But I'm going to say this. Senjutsu, strategy, technique, tactics, ability. Let me tell you what I think the strategy to sum up this album is, Jeff. I think the playing ability on this record, especially the guitar prowess, the riffs, the hooks, and most definitely the guitar solos. The guitar solos on this record, I think, are some of my favorite in Maiden's career. And I know that's a weird thing to say, but these solos are amazing. Simply Incredible Podcast says, I already have a metal hip and screws in my knees. Laugh out loud. Mr. Rankin.
Yes.
You're a guitarist, a shredder.
So,
Give me your take on this album.
After you explaining that definition, wow. I mean, that actually kind of explains this album to me, because I wasn't even sure if we were going to get another Iron Maiden album, right? You know, after the last one, you know, Book Souls, I was like, saw the tour, loved the album, thought it was great. And then it was like, we weren't sure if we're going to get another one. If that is about skill and being tactful on when coming up with this music, I think this album really sums up a lot of the things that they have done over their career, right? I mean, there's so many elements on this album that seem like they hits on some of the best parts of all their elements that they've had through their career. Even going back to, you know, like Blaze, when he was in there with X Factor, and that other album that they did, Virtual 9. A lot different for them. However, they did have an element and brought that into one of these songs that was on Senjutsu, which was absolutely amazing. But however, you know, you talk about like some of the melodic riffs and dual, or I shouldn't say dual guitars, I should say triplet guitars, right? With Stratego, and definitely on Darkest Hour, and the Time Machine. Those riffs that they have on the Time Machine, man, is just like sick. You're like listening to it and it like hooks you in. Almost the Stratego almost reminds me like Brave New World, like some almost elements from that album, you know, like it really pulled me in. When that album came out, it was, oh my God, Bruce Dickinson's back, but what's this going to be like? And then I put it in and it was like song after song, Wicker Man, blah, blah, you know, it just grabbed you and you're like, holy shit. 3 guitar players, Gers, you know, Murray and Smith. I wasn't sure what that was going to be like. What an amazing chemistry all these guys have together, man. They took all the members, basically put them together and created this wonderful piece of work. You know, I know we're going to be talking on certain things that we you know, wasn't really, I guess, completely happy about with the album, but for the album as a whole, I really am actually very ecstatic about almost all the songs, but one.
Let me tell you something. I'll go with what you just said. I actually love all the songs. Do you know which song I actually don't like? I actually don't like the opening track, the actual Senjutsu. I am not a fan of that song. I am good with everything else. Even the actual commercial, the first video, the writing on the wall, they're playing "Feel Like Making Love" by Bad Company. Dun it, dun dun it, dun dun it. And I was like, how could they be ripping off that riff so close? But after the guitar solo, they throw two other riffs in that could be two other songs. And this is what I've noticed listening to every track on the album. Every track has its root riff and its root bridge and chorus. However, there's tempo changes. Mm-hmm. There's crazy songs within songs. They change time signatures a lot. And just like Somewhere in Time and Fear of the Dark, dude, the fucking keyboards, Steve Harris playing keyboards with his cool bass lines. There's a lot of keyboards on this record. Probably more keyboards than I've heard in a long time, other than when the last album had some piano stuff on it. Mm-hmm. There's lots of keys and synth, and it's all for layers. I will say, no matter what the problems with this album is, and there's just maybe two or three that I can think of that doesn't make it a perfect record, mm-hmm. but the album musically, every solo makes me smile. All those triple dueling solos, so good, mm-hmm. so tasty, and the actual virtuosity was really impressive. I'm gonna sum up just with for me, Lost in a Lost World, Time Machine, and then, believe it or not, the whole second disc, if you got the CD set.
Yeah.
The second disc, every 4 tracks, which they're all like 10 minutes long.
Yep.
The last 3 tracks were written by Steve Harris alone. And, as a bass player, I really value his songwriting. But Death of the Celts, which, by the way, sounds like the Klansmen, The Parchment, and then Hell on Earth, which, by the way, has some themes or sonic motifs, or maybe it's just the riff, mm-hmm. that actually reminds me of Brave New World. And then the last thing I say positive is that I am not a big fan of the Iron Maiden of the 2000s. And let me digress by saying Brave New World changed my world when it came out because I thought it was so good. However, Book of Souls, the Final Frontier, or the Space Frontier, or Final Frontier, and then the other album, the one with Judgment Day with the tank on it, I wasn't a big fan of a lot of Maiden's output since Brave New World. And it's not that I didn't like the records, but after I heard them, I never listened to them more than twice. The difference is with this album, and again, maybe it's just because of the pandemic and I needed to hear new music. Since I picked this up, I've listened to it every single day since I bought it. That's how much I enjoy the record. The only 3 negative things I can say about it is, God damn, these songs are long. B, I think Dickinson's vocals sound a little muddy. And that just might be Kevin Caveman Shirley, who has actually produced every record since Brave New World. Maybe he's just trying to hide, the aging of the vocalist. But, and then thirdly, not every song, but half the album, Dance of Death. Yes. Dance of Death, great album too, Pop Culture. But again, if I'm going to rank the 2000 records, I'm going to say Brave New World, Senjutsu, Dance of Death, and then Book of Souls, whatever. But to be honest with you, Jeff, my only other thing is that it seemed like a lot of songs had these 1.5 minute intros and a lot of outros where they were super slow and ballady.
Mm-hmm.
And then, there's one song where I think it was 2 minutes and 40 seconds before Bruce, you even heard his voice. And then it was like 1:50. I think maybe it was Days of Future Past or Lost in the Lost World. There's almost 1:50, 2 minutes almost before the band kicks in. I thought that was a little weird. And even though I do like all of this too, Darkest Hour, the way it opens with seagulls and ends with seagulls, that was weird. But it's just like, when we were younger making demo tapes and we would put little sound effects in between songs to try and be cool in the 90s, that's kind of what it sounded like to me. Other than that, again, hasn't left my player in the car for 2 weeks now. So that's all I got to say about Senjutsu. I'm going to let you, the shredder extraordinaire, give me your closing thoughts, comments, thoughts about the new Maiden record.
Sure. I actually really enjoyed almost every song on there. It was definitely a journey, like I was talking about. The Writing on the Wall was on my part was the one that it was my least favorite of them. I know it was kind of like a different kind of route that they were taking, and not saying that I can't stomach the song. The song is still a good song, but is it to me up to par with the rest of the songs on there? No. And that's probably due to my own selfish desires of liking what I like. Of a lot of the old school, so I will use that as a little bit of I don't want to say, how do I put it, where it's something new, and I'm not sure if it's settled with me quite as yet. But the rest of the album, I really thoroughly liked it. It is long, but what I enjoy about it is I can sit in my office, dim the lights, and the way I look at all the songs, it's almost like you're going on this journey. Right? You go from one track to the next, and you're on this emotional kind of roller coaster ride.
Hey, Pop Culture Avenger says, I don't have it yet. I guess I'll be ordering tomorrow. Pop Culture, let me tell you something. I thought it was so good that I bought Jeff Rankin a copy. Okay? And the artwork, the musicianship, I'll let Jeff continue about talking how good it was. Go ahead, Jeff. I'm sorry.
Just as good as this doggone artwork, right?
Yeah.
It's just so damn good. So just the album as well. It's just, it's long, but it takes you on a journey. And honestly, when the songs are on, I don't even feel the length of the time, because I kind of really get lost in the track. And talking about, the parts being like 2 minutes and 45 seconds of instrumentation. Like what was that song, Darkest Hour, for example, where you have like the acoustic and stuff that's blending in. It's like the very long kind of like intro, but when the music kicked in, it was like bam, it was impacting. It kind of grabbed you, and it's like, oh shit, where are we now? Yeah, right. I just liked how a lot of those songs took you in that kind of route. The Parchment's another good example of that long song.
Parchment is one of my favorite tunes by far.
Just the journey it takes your ears on. It's just good. Right?
Well, here's the thing too. If it didn't have those outros and intros, it could really be a metal opera. Because to be honest with you, if those weren't there, now that I'm thinking about it, as long as the songs are and by the way, they are repetitious, some of the songs, but like I said, when a solo section comes in, all of a sudden the band switches gears, time signatures, riffs, everything, and you're almost taken into another song, and then they bring you back at the end, which is dynamic songwriting for any band. But the cool thing is now that I'm thinking about it, because the songs are so long, especially that last disc, if you bought the CD, it's 2 discs. the second disc is only 4 songs, right? Actually, if those things that the thing that I was opposed to, those outros and intros, if those weren't there, I guarantee you the whole second half of the album would probably sound like just one long song, you know? And to be honest with you, that is a testament to the songwriting and the journey, but also the strategy of the band on this particular album was to take you on a journey. I will disagree with you, Jeff. I don't think The Writing on the Wall is the worst song on the record, even though you subjectively don't like it. I actually think that was the most daring thing that they did, because they actually had so much Spanish guitar in it, and it had that flamenco spaghetti Western feel to it, which, to be honest with you, I've never heard Iron Maiden do before. So again, I know you don't like it because it doesn't sound familiar like Maiden, but it was the first single they released, and I have a feeling that they wanted to show that, hey, we're not just a one-trick pony.
Sure.
And even though it does start out weird and it really does sound like Feel Like Making Love by Bad Company, you got to admit, though, the riff in the middle of the song before the solo kicks in, they go to a totally different riff. Like a really, it's almost like a really Metallica Slayer-esque thing. And then the solos, again, are fucking impeccable. The playing, there's a lot of tapping. There's a lot of just really, and whatever you say about Kevin Shirley, Kevin the Caveman Shirley, sometimes he has been scrutinized for mixing the drums too low or Dickinson too low and whatever. But I got to tell you, man, those guitars just kicked me in the face with every listening, those solos. In fact, I want a CD. I want a mix of this album where it's just the solo parts, because they're that fucking good. And you know me, I'm really into songwriting more than musicianship a lot of time. You've worked with me for 20 years. I'd rather take a good song over a 20-minute solo, but the playing on this album was so good. You can give me 20-minute solos all day long, Oh, yeah. But anyway,
just engineering. The engineering on it, though, was just, I think that's also what brings out the solos, because those guitars, they're crunchy. They don't fade away. Everything's in your face. And when you're hearing the drums, it's not hollow sound. It's like the stereo and the sonic of the instruments is really well done with this album.
And I'm going to segue. Ready for the segue?
All right.
Everybody watching, first off, everyone watching, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification button so you know when I'm doing a video, whether it's comic books or with my good friend Jeff and my friend Daryl. We do stuff on movies, and then metal. But Jeff, I'm going to have you give a review and your description, because here's my segue. Oh, let's say, hey, Agent de Camp, a little different stream tonight. We're talking hard rock and metal, some new stuff. No comic stuff tonight, other than we're both very comical, and cartoons of ourselves by far. Jeff, I haven't picked up a record by this band in 25 years. But on your suggestion, for the last 2 or 3 days, I've been on my Spotify listening to this album, because it's that time of year, Jeff. It's October. The recent release by a band called Helloween. Jeff, tell me all about the Helloween album. And here's my segue, Jeff. For all the production notes on fucking the new Senjutsu by Maiden, dude, the production on Helloween's self-titled is out of this world. I was shocked to hell by the clarity of the bass, the drums, the guitars. And dude, who is that drumming for them? Because he's a fucking cyborg. Anyway, I'm going to let you take it. Tell these people online in about 2 to 5 minutes why they should pick up the new self-titled Helloween record. Go.
All right. New Helloween record. First off, anybody who freaking loved Michael Kiske, the original Helloween fans, from the song Helloween on their Keeper of the Seven Keys Part 2. That's Halloween. Exactly. Michael Kiske and Andy Duras are together on this album. You have two amazing metal vocalists that are on the new Helloween album that's self-titled, and it does justice. What's awesome about it is, like, if you love Keeper of the Seven Keys Part 2, maybe you like The Oath or any of the other ones, Gambling with the Devil. This album takes what Andy does and what Michael Kiske does and puts them together. And to me, I think that they created a masterpiece here. I mean, I listen to a lot of Helloween albums, and there's quite a bit of where it's like, I love it, I'm not really too sure, but this is one right here. It's just this great combination. We were just talking about, like, with Iron Maiden on the Senjutsu album, right? And when they brought out Brave New World, they had Gers and Murray and Smith all together. Well, bringing a lot of the original Helloween members to create this album, there is something to be said about having original members on an album. You get the albums that you basically, I know sometimes you would say things like, hey, Jeff, I hate when they try to compare us to something that we've already done. But that's kind of also like a good thing, right? You've created a trademark to what people want to hear. And what they've done is they've created this album with what people want to hear from the past as well as the present, and put it together was great. When you have, like, Out for the Glory, which is the title track on that album, you have Michael Kiske on that song coming out. And it was like, honestly, I didn't even have the CD at the time. Someone just told me about it. Actually, it was Armand, of all people. He hit me up and he's like, hey, have you heard the new Helloween album? I was like, no. He sent me the link, said, you got to hear it right away. So I put it in, and I was like, who the hell is singing right now? What? And then I listened to the second song, Fear of the Fallen, and then you had Andy Duras on there, and then you have Best Time, and it was both of them singing together. And I was like, this is just unbelievably incredible. You talk about those dual leads that they have. We love Murray. We love the Smith dual leads. Freaking the Helloween guys, man. Those guitar parts that they're playing on there are just incredibly crushing. You talk about fast movements that are melodic and keeps the listener in tune. This album is a masterpiece for that. A lot of these metal giants are coming out kicking ass because they have a lot of the same artist with them. For example, like the GNR, and I know we're going to talk about that later, but there's a reason that new song sounds amazing. And I'll just let it be at that and pass it back over to you, my friend.
Well, like, for example, I haven't bought a freaking Helloween record or owned one since the Seven Keys Part 2. Right? Yes. Now, Hanson left after that, and he started what? Gamma Ray?
Yep.
And Keeper of the Seven Keys Part 2. So Hanson has been out of the band since '88.
Yep.
So these guys are coming. I mean, '88, that's a long time, man. And a debut, it's a self-titled, 2 singers. I gotta say, I don't know who's singing what, to be honest with you, because again, I'm not a huge Helloween fan like you are.
Yeah.
But Indestructible, Cyanide, which blew me the fuck away when I heard that song. Because not only is Cyanide a great power metal song, but it's just a great metal song. Like, that could be a thrash metal song. Rise Without Chains,
That's a great freaking song, man.
and Fear of the Fallen.
Yeah.
Those 4 songs blew me the fuck away. Now, my only bads, like the ones I didn't like, some of the bonus tracks, I did not like Golden Times. I don't know if that's a new song or an old song, but when I listened to Golden Times, I thought I was listening. You know, I'm gonna tease you a little bit about your European power metal. Some of the European power metal to me sounds like they think they're on Broadway, where it's like, I know that I am the man who likes to lay to her. And
Right.
you know me, over the years, you played me that, and I've been like, what the fuck are they doing? Why are they singing over every note like they're in church? You know when you sang with the hymnals and you're in church and it was like you had to match every note that the piano player was playing?
Yep.
That's the only bad song I heard, and that was a bonus track. But
I didn't hear any of the bonus tracks.
okay, well, there you go. Golden Times on Spotify was playing the bonus tracks first, and I was like, "What the fuck is this?" But then I heard "Out for Glory" and "Fear of the Fallen," and I was like, "Oh,
Okay.
this is amazing." So, with that said, I just want to show we're having like a love fest in here today. We got Agent DeCamp and Pop Culture. We got the Boatwright family and comics. We got all these comics guys. Do you have the record, Jeff, or you just bought it online?
I just got it online.
Oh, okay. Yeah. What I was doing is because I got all these comic nerds on here, I wanted to show off the artwork. But since we don't have it, well, you picked the wrong night to come on. But anyway, we're talking metal. And now I'm going to, go ahead. What? You're going to say something, Jeff?
Yeah. You know what?
What?
Iron Maiden has what? 3 guitar players now, right?
Yes.
It just hit me now. Helloween kept the other new guitar player that it took over for Kai, Sasha Gerstner. He is still with the band, so they have 3 guitar players.
Yes,
so their sound of the old and new is the same. It is relevant, just like Iron Maiden took the best of all theirs. They didn't get rid of him. They made it great.
And what's so funny is Hanson, who made the big deal about him returning to the band, he only co-wrote 2 of the songs. He co-wrote Orbit and Skyfall. So that's funny, but great guitar playing. And again, major force in Gamma Ray for years. You turned me on to them years ago. But let's go to a band that everybody's familiar with. And by the way, Jeff, I would love to have played music by all these bands we're talking about. But if I even played 2.5 seconds of any of these songs or showed the videos, copyright strike, motherfucker.
You know what? I got a question about that. So why in the hell is it that you have all these people that have like these, what is it that they're listening to a song? It's like, what is their...
Yeah, their reaction.
Yeah, reaction shit.
Because they got way more subscribers than I do. And with that said, please hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell. And please like this video or don't like the video. I don't give a fuck. Anyway, and speaking of fucks, this show is not for kids. So if you're watching this, go fucking watch reaction videos or Fortnite videos on YouTube. Get the hell off this channel because these are 2 old dudes doing music reviews. Anyway, Jeff, 2 songs. 1 song a couple weeks ago called Absurd, and a new song 2 days ago called Hard School. Dude, what band am I talking about?
Good old school GNR.
That's right. For those who don't know what the hell we're talking about Guns N' Roses, baby. This is the first studio recordings with Axl Rose, Slash, and Duff playing together for the first time since probably, I don't know, fucking Use Your Illusion 2. Yeah. How crazy is that? Okay. Or maybe it's the Terminator 2 soundtrack. I don't know. Look at Pop Culture Avenger. Look at this. We made him spend money tonight. He ordered both the Helloween CD and the Iron Maiden. Pop Culture Avenger, I've seen your Instagram posts. You will not be disappointed by these records. these CDs. Look at how old I am. I'm calling them records. These LPs, long playing discs. But anyway, dude, I'm going to give my synopsis real quick.
Yeah, man.
Guns N' Roses dropped a song called Absurd. Agent DeCamp says, I can't believe any of them want to play with Axl again. Agent DeCamp, they've been playing with Axl for over 5.5 to 6 years. They've been touring together, Guns N' Roses, putting on some of the greatest shows in North America, making a shit ton of money. And maybe they tour in different vans, man, but they're playing together and having a good time. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. But what is here is that they dropped a song called Absurd, which you can find on the YouTubes. It's different. It's industrial. It's heavy. Musically, it sounds like Guns N' Roses. Sonically, as the vocals go, it's very processed. I almost thought it was Duff at first and not even Axl. But it is a cool song, killer solo, and still, it's 2021, motherfuckers. What is Guns N' Roses supposed to sound exactly like they did before? Guess what, Jeff? The second single they dropped called Hard School, and that's spelled SKOOL, dropped 2 or 3 days ago on YouTube. Everybody go look up Hard, as in morning, School, SKOOL, by Guns N' Roses. And boy, oh motherfucking boy, it sounds like GNR from 1988 all over again. What do you think, Jeff?
Absolutely, man. You turned me on. When you shot me that link, I was very hesitant, right? I got suckered into the Chinese democracy, and what a damn disappointment that was. I had so many high hopes over the years for that album. I know we're not talking about that one, but you talk about being a fan with all their albums, right? With, Welcome to the Jungle, and then you have, Illusions 1 and 2, Lies, all great songs on those. Even Spaghetti Theory, I wasn't a huge fan for.
Ooh.
But the Chinese democracy, after all the years of like pumping it up, when it was released, we were released with a pile of poop. And as a fan who was looking for what we were listening to in the day, at least something freaking similar, close. Hell, give me another Civil War, November Rain. I'll say, okay, that's great. I know we're all evolving, right? Music, but keeping it within sounding like who you are. That was not what we got with CD with Chinese Democracy at all. No. This here just proves that there is, like we were talking about original members with the other two albums.
Sure.
This song proves that having the original members is what creates that original sound, because those were your brothers or your sisters and brothers that you started writing that music with. You guys created that soul. You had that chemistry together, and there's only one group of people that are going to do that, and that's the original group. So you got Duff playing the bass. You got Slash on the guitar, hitting those low chops and sounding just like Slash does. But Duff has his own unique bass sound and his own unique way of writing. So when you don't have those two elements there, it's not GNR anymore. It's Axl Rose with other guys, and not knocking off any other of the musicians, because they were amazing. Buckethead, all those guys, fantastic musicians, but it wasn't Guns N' Roses. They should have went under a different name. This song, Hard School, kicks ass. It comes out, and I wasn't really sure what was going to happen with Axl, because it was like that kind of low voice, what you're saying, processed in the beginning.
Hey. That's all I can play.
Yeah, before it gets shut down, right? Yeah. So just like that, dun, 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 right? Right away, you're like, oh, damn, that is so old school. Oh. So he hits those like gritty vocals when he comes in, and you're like, oh, this is the Guns N' Roses I freaking love and remember. I was blown away on that song, man. I really was blown away.
Pop Culture Avenger says Hard School has over 1 million views in less than 4 days. It is impressive. It could be better considering it's Guns N' Roses and they've sold like hundreds of millions of records, but still good, because that is like, it's like if Taylor Swift was an amputee numbers for 1 million views in one day. It's no Ariana Grande, but it's good. That's up there with if Metallica released a song or someone like of that stature. But again, we only have 2 singles out right now. Here's praying that there's a new album coming, because guess what? The great thing about a pandemic is those 18 or 12 months that no one did nothing last year, they all went in the studio and started writing. That's why we have a brand new Iron Maiden record. That's why we have a new Helloween record. I guess what we're not going to have? We're not going to have a new Judas Priest record or any tour dates right now, because Richie Faulkner, the guitarist, had to undergo major emergency heart surgery. Do you like that segue, Jeff?
That was good.
Yeah. Also, a lot of bands have been dropping out of tours and stuff because of COVID-related shit. So with all the vaccinations, with all the masks, with all the stuff, not everything's working out for everybody. A lot of folks, bands that are from other countries, are getting stuck in their port, not able to come over here. Big news. I sent Jeff a link of this. Dream Theater, by the way, has a new album coming out. They have 2 songs out. One's called Alien and one's called something else. I forget, but Alien is fucking badass, thrashy, proggy, everything you expect. I wish it was an instrumental sometimes, because James LeBray kind of drives me insane sometimes. I want to break Jordan Rudess's fingers too sometimes, but that's a personal thing. But guess what, Jeff? They were guess where they were starting their tour? In Orlando. In Orlando in December. And guess what? Postpone North American tour to early 2022 because of COVID-related shite.
And it begins Invisible Monster.
Yeah, well, whether invisible or not, some shit's going on.
That's the track, Invisible Monster.
Oh, that's right. That's the name of the song. The new song that they released, Dream Theater, 2 days ago, is called Invisible Monster. Isn't it? How ironic. Hey, Jeff. Did you hear about the metal festival that was in Orlando last week that got canceled 2 hours before it was supposed to start?
Are you serious? No.
It was called Rebel Rock, speaking of Orlando. First off, they had like 10 million bands canceled because of COVID issues. But then remember the rain we had a few weeks ago?
Yeah.
Like it's been sunny and clear. Well, apparently the rain, I guess it was the fields or the campgrounds where they were having the show. They got so damaged with the flooding a couple weeks ago that supposedly it was unsafe. And everybody from Limp Bizkit to Seven Dust to Machine Gun Kelly to whoever the fuck, everybody was playing the show. It got canceled. And dude, I had friends of mine that had tickets. It was literally canceled while people were waiting online to get inside the festival.
Wow.
But what I want to know is, promoter-wise and all that, what about all the bands that flew in the night before with all their equipment and shit and were already set up in green rooms? So anyway, that was a fire festival for the metal community. And then let's hope Rockville goes off. Metallica is playing 2 nights in December. No, I'm sorry, November 11th.
Yep.
Here in Daytona Beach. But otherwise, the reason I brought this up, do you oh yeah, fuck yeah, Jim, Boatwright family. I wanted to go and see Phil and Samo. You know what? Jim Boatwright and family. That's one of the only acts I wanted to see, because Jeff will begrudgingly tell you I'm a huge Pantera fan and a huge Phil and Samo fan. I don't care if he can't sing that good anymore either. Cemetery Gates is one of the greatest songs ever recorded vocally, in my opinion, and I'm going to stick to that. But the point is, Yeah, his new band, they were playing an all Pantera set. And he was supposed to play. And you know what's fucked up, Jeff, and Boatwright family? What's weird is I actually saw footage of Phil Anselmo and his band rehearsing the show. They were rehearsing the set in Louisiana, New Orleans, 3 days before the festival, and sharing videos saying, "Hey, we're all, hey brother, we're all super." I don't know why I'm talking like Hulk Hogan.
Warrior.
Anyway, Phil Anselmo, he talks like this now, and he says, "Hey, I can't wait to play Rebel Rock." Dude, 3 days before the show. Yeah, baby. Anyway, 3 days before the show, they were rehearsing, and they canceled it 2 hours before the show. Every fucking band was there in a hotel getting their gear ready to play. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. Anyone hear of the Fire Festival, that thing out on an island that someone tried to put on?
No, that was a big
sounds like Fire Festival in the metal and rock world. But anyway, funny story. Machine Gun Kelly was one of the headliners, believe it or not, one of these days on Rebel Rock. So it's a good thing it didn't turn out. But anyway, Machine Gun Kelly went on. It's like, you know what? The rock and metal community is just like fucking high school and like TMZ shit. Mm-hmm. Machine Gun Kelly, who now has a rock career because he's playing guitar, he's like Methods of Mayhem in 2021. Machine Gun Kelly made fun of Slipknot and said it's a bunch of fucking 50-year-old dudes wearing scary masks. I hate to say, but he's kind of right. It is true. But then they lashed back, and apparently he was playing a festival, just a Louder festival or one of those festivals just a couple days ago, and the whole crowd was all Slipknot fans, and they were booing him and cursing him and giving the middle finger. But guess what? All these stories about Slipknot and Machine Gun Kelly, if those stories and these beefs weren't out there, no one would care about Slipknot or Machine Gun Kelly because no one's probably listening to their music. That's just my hot take. However, prayers and vibes go to Richie Faulkner of Judas Priest. He had severe heart problems that he had to go get heart surgery, and that paused Judas Priest's tour. There's a lot of bands who aren't touring right now because of COVID-related issues. Hell, did you hear that even Kiss, both Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley, got COVID about 4 weeks ago and had to postpone about 5 or 6 shows on their farewell tour? Hell, Jeff Rankin bought Motley Crue, Def Leppard, and whoever tickets. I think he bought it 4 years ago, and he still hasn't seen that show. And the way that Vince Neil's going, maybe you won't. Anyway, hey, Jeff, we talked about Guns N' Roses has new music out. Please go listen to that. Yeah, Pop Culture Avenger. Pop Culture Avenger says he saw Slipknot and Rammstein in Hartford Mosh Pit Madness. Pop Culture Avenger. I had the pleasure of seeing Slipknot at their first ever Ozfest they played at. These guys were so dedicated. They were on the side stage. They weren't even on the main stage. I was in West Palm Beach at Ozfest, and Slipknot was playing at like 2 p.m. in the hot summer West Palm Beach sun in full scary masks and jumpsuits and a million trash can drums and stuff. They must have been sweating their asses off. But you know what? All that work, all that theatrics paid off because Slipknot's one of the biggest bands in the world, as far as metal goes. And hell, Stone Sour, which came out of Slipknot, even though it existed prior to Slipknot. I mean, Corey Taylor's, ran that all the way to the bank, and that's some machine, whether you like him or not. Boatwright family and comics said he was there. We probably bumped into each other. I saw Drain. I saw Disturbed for the first time at that very Ozfest, I believe, too. And no one knew who they were. All I know is I heard them go, or whatever they do.
Yeah.
But, I know, Jeff, you got to go soon. I'm going to wrap this mofo up.
I just want to jump in real quick on that comment, though, man.
What?
About the Machine Gun and Slipknot.
What?
Hey, he may say that they're like a bunch of 50-year-olds with masks, but you just made a major comment. They're entertaining. They're guys in masks. They're entertaining, and all those bands are about putting on a freaking show. Yeah. So they're 50-year-olds with masks kicking fucking ass. Machine Gun Kelly, a rapping rock wannabe, come the fuck on. Well, these guys, whether it be Maiden or anybody in the metal arena, are out there for the fucking fans to put on a great show.
All right. You know what? Trivium, Matt Heafy, the lead singer, guitarist of Trivium, we know very well. We met them when they were like 12 years old.
Sure. Playing in Daytona at that one little,
for free at my show. And they said, oh, by the way, Anthony, we love the show. Anytime you want us to play for you again, we'll do it. Yeah, okay. Anyway, Matt Heafy, if you're listening, I'd like that. I'm taking you up on that. I'd like you to play in my backyard next week. Anyway, Matt Heafy from Trivium, he clapped back at Machine Gun Kelly, and he said, Machine Gun Kelly is a grown man cosplaying as a 16-year-old pop punk kid. And that's kind of funny. However, everybody, Machine Gun Kelly still gets the last laugh because he's banging Megan Fox every night. But anyway, I'm just going to leave that there. But hey, Jeff.
Yeah.
We talked about Helloween tonight. We talked about Guns N' Roses' new tracks, and we talked about the grandeur that is Iron Maiden's new album. Mm-hmm. Jeff, next month, October 22nd, you know what album comes out?
Which one?
The new Dream Theater record, October 22nd. And for all you folks out here who are watching, listening, if you want to listen to something new with a little eye candy, because you know I'm all about the eye candy, go check out, just watch some videos by the band Ginger, okay? It's Jinjer. All right? Go listen to some of their music. They are a younger band. They're from Croatia or Romania or something anyway. Female-fronted band. The most gorgeous fucking voice you've ever heard, yet in the middle of a song, all in the middle of a song, she goes from singing like a frozen Disney princess to singing like the daughter of Satan. It's like if it's here's the good comparison. Who's the chick from No Doubt? Gwen Stefani. Mm-hmm. It's like if Gwen Stefani was Lucifer's daughter. That's what her voice sounds like. However, the band, especially if you're a bass player like me, if you like hearing some metal bass and some amazing groove metal, the band Ginger, it's spelled Jinjer. Okay.
You mind if I throw a couple of my European faves and hopefully?
Yes, but let me finish this first, and then I'll let you go. I mean, come on now. Yes, I just put it in the chat. Check out Ginger. That's all I got to say. Oh, and by the way, even though it came out earlier in the year, check out the new Gojira record, Gojira. They used to be all hardcore, thrash, heavy shit. They're still heavy shit, but they're a lot more melodic now, and their breakdowns and transitions in the songs and solos are fucking unbelievable. Gojira and Ginger for those new schoolers who really want to rock out. And by the way, they sell their shirts in Hot Topic, so they're cooler than all the old shit we were talking about. Jeff, you got the floor. Give us your recommendations.
All right, man. So hopefully we definitely get to do this again. So what it makes working with you, man, over the years so great is we have such diverse taste that we share with each other. I've always been a European power metal, or heavy metal kind of person, like with Fate's Warning and bands like that. But for two bands that I would recommend now, their albums dropped a little earlier throughout the year, definitely during the pandemic. But for anybody who doesn't know these bands, highly recommend checking them out. Evergrey. From England is absolutely amazing. They dropped the album Escape of the Phoenix this year. If you haven't heard Escape of the Phoenix, another great piece of work that they had done. Really follows the Atlantic.
Are you telling me? Wait a minute. You're telling me Evergrey put a new record out?
Yeah, dude.
What?
Called Escape of the Phoenix. Yeah. Like when all this shit was going on at the beginning of the year. And it's fucking unbelievable, man. It's really a great, great album.
Boatwright family, I think Cliff Burton's death was yesterday, but that's neither here nor there. Good take. Boatwright family, I am the most excellent bass player on this stream. Check out the music by Metropolis Rising and Luna Dementia, both on YouTube. You'll hear both me and Jeff playing our asses off. Go ahead, Jeff. I'm sorry.
Sure. So in one other band that would be a good European favorite, before I get to that, Tom England also did, this was in 2018.
And Tom England, for those who don't know, is the lead singer of Evergrey.
Yeah. Did you hear Redemption when they dropped the album Long Night's Journey into Day?
Yeah, we went and saw them live, you and I, remember?
Yeah, but that wasn't Redemption. That was Evergrey we saw.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, Redemption
is on your T-shirts.
Yeah, exactly. He had beat cancer, and they created this band. He's done stuff with lead singer from Fates Warning, Ray Alder. But the last album, he used Tom England, and that was on Long Night's Journey into Day. Another great album. So if you love Evergrey, you'll love that album. You'll love Redemption as well. But the last one I'll bring up for today, because hopefully again we get to do this and get to share all these great music and metal bands with you guys. But Amaranthi with Elias Reed from overseas. If you haven't heard anything of them, they got 3 vocalists. They got a female vocalist, like a kind of like a Cookie Monster vocalist, and then like a power metal vocalist. Those three on that band work extremely well together. So check out Amaranthi with their latest release, which was Fearless. Definitely amazing album. I give it 2 thumbs up.
I look at my comments there.
Yes, she is. She is extremely a beautiful young lady.
No, I said the lead singer is hot and the girl's not bad either.
Yes.
Hey, Jeff, speaking of Fates Warning, look what I got just the other day.
Oh, shoot, man. Really? Where'd you get that at?
I got gifted to me by our good friend Daniel Driscoll.
Oh, badass, man. What a great album.
He hates metal like this, so he gave me this. By the way, it looks like it's never even been played. It's clean as a whistle.
Wow.
And then look what else I got.
Dude, no way. Wow, even before Ray. Nice. Yep.
This is Ray's first album. Correct?
Correct.
And then this is the album they put out before he joined the band. Fates Warning. If you guys don't know who Fates Warning is, well, fuck yous, because Fates Warning is amazing. When Jeff and I started our band, Luna Dementia, 20 years ago, Luna Dementia, 20 years ago, almost, my goal, at least me, I wanted to sound as close to Fates Warning as possible because I just thought they were a cool band. And I also loved Armored Saint. So it was like I went from the San Francisco Bay thrash to the Prague Queensryche clone type bands. Not that they were Queensryche clone, but let's face it, Fates Warning since day one will always be considered a Queensryche clone. Yet, musically, I think they were better than Queensryche. Maybe not as commercial, but musically more adventurous because Fates Warning, no pun intended, had a lot of Iron Maiden influences in them, if you know what I mean.
That'd be a good one to have, like a conversation on Fates Warning and Queensryche and Dream Theater. That'd be
yes, the proto, the OG prog metal bands, you know, and then you could follow into Porcupine Tree and all that shit that kind of stemmed from that. But yeah, Fates Warning. And what was the other band that was what was the other band that had the drummer who's now in Godsmack, Shannon Larkin? Didn't he play in a metal, like a prog metal band?
Wasn't it Rat Child America?
Yes, that's exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
They were very proggy too, weren't they?
Over the Wall. Very well. The first time was very thrashy, but then they did Souls to Zero.
Yep.
And that's when it became prog.
But you know what? Who else? Like people like Dream Theater. You know what's a big influence on their prog metal? The Dixie Dregs.
Yeah.
You know, that was like early, you know. And then of course Rod Morgenstern from the Dixie Dregs went to play with Winger on drums.
Yep.
And what was it? Neil and the guitarist, of course, has been playing in Deep Purple forever. You know, but the Dixie Dregs, that was early prog metal. And then, dude, who can forget Zebra?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Anyway, Jeff, has this been fun or what?
This has been a blast, man. The thing is that I'm sad to see that the time's come up for me, but I really would love to do this some more. I think that we have so many things that we could talk about. We are old, we are proud, and we fucking love metal.
And we're having a midlife crisis by even wanting to be on the YouTubes. But before I let you go, Jeff, I want to say thank you very much. I also want to say thank you to everybody in the chat tonight. It's been one of the most robust chats we've had. Please hit the like button, hit the notification button. Tell your friends about these two cool old guys. But also pick up the new Iron Maiden album, Senjutsu. Pick up the new Helloween album because it's Halloween, so you might as well pick it up. Pick up the new Evergrey album. Pick up the new Amaranthe album. Pick up the new Ginger album. And to be honest with you, if you really want to rock your balls off, go pick up the new Gojira record because that is amazing. Anyway, you know what? We're always gonna we're open-minded. And we just, music is music, art is subjective. It's never objective. But we like what we like. We're going to request what we request. And in the future, if anyone's got some recommendations or people like Boatwright Family and Friends, Pop Culture, anyone who's a metal enthusiast who wants to join and come on and talk to us, please feel free. You guys all know how to get in touch with me on the Instagrams and the Twitter and the YouTube and everything. Just send me a message and come on and chat with us. But for Jeff Rankin and Anthony Sica, two old dudes doing metal reviews, this has been the first episode on my YouTube channel of Midlife Metal Crisis. Thank you guys and have a good night and stay metal.